Hello, all. I want to talk about health insurance. And what I did is that I went to ChatGPT and I just typed something that I am 63 years old, for example. I make, for example, $45,000. I live in West Virginia, and tell me how I can have health insurance. It is telling me one way for me to have a health insurance is to look into Affordable Care Act, this green highlight. Therefore, Affordable Care Act is what we know as Obamacare. But what it is telling me is that $45,000 of salary may qualify me for that, premium. And for that Affordable Care Act, but I have to maybe come up with some money of my own, and it is telling me that I can get three types of insurance with that Affordable Care Act. Either it should be a bronze, silver, or gold. As you all might guess, gold might cost me more. It covers better, it has a better coverage, and maybe the more basic one is bronze. If I don't have a good income, I'll try to go with, bronze, or if I don't have a lot of medical expenses. And it is telling me most likely it will cost me something between $100 to $400. It is also telling me to be careful about the time that the day, open enrollment period, OEP, open enrollment period, which is usually from November 1st to December 15th. And in fact, if I want to do that in West Virginia, there are three different, good insurance companies that, I can go and choose from. One of them is Blue Cross Blue Shield, Highmark, the other one, CareSource, and then the other one, Health Plan. Therefore, regarding if I can get a Medicaid, of course, as you all know, Medicaid is for people who have very low income, and their income is, at a level of poverty level, most likely $20,000 a year, and maybe 38% more than that, maybe 27,000 or something. Therefore, I won't most likely qualify because I said I am making 45,000. And then we come here, and if I can be eligible for Medicare, because here I am saying I am, for example, 63 years old, it is telling me that, I won't be able to, to have Medicare because it requires the person to be 65 years, therefore, and also for me, in order what to do, I have to go to the website of the government, healthcare.gov, and look for West Virginia Marketplace to find a good insurance company and look for dental and other necessary, information. And it is giving me some cost, how much it might cost. Then this yellow is another question I have. I am saying that, the silver plan. The silver plan most likely will cost me between $300 to $500, and it has a maximum out of pocket. Maximum out of pocket means that I have to put, if I go to, for example, to hospitals, for example, I end up paying $6,000 of, in certain circumstances out of my, out of pocket. But then after that, the insurance will kick in. Then I asked ChatGPT about, Medicaid, how it can be, the person can be eligible. It said, as we discussed, it has to be as a poverty level. And then pregnant women can have a different level at a poverty level, and children also. It low income people, children, parents of caretakers, these are the people who can get Medicaid. Then we come here, the person has to be a US citizen or to be a resident, and assets don't count. Where do they go? They go to DHHR and they get their insurance from there. Then regarding their dental insurance, they go to these companies for dental insurance. And regarding Medicare, as you all know, Medicaid, it is for low income people, And suppose I asked if I need a, hearing aid. It says that hearing aid, the good quality hearing aids are brand names are sometimes run up to $4,000. However, this company suppose has a very expensive one. Maybe that's high quality. They have some over-the-counter products for hearing aids, and that might cost between 500 to 1500. Some hearing aids are Bluetooth have Bluetooth connectivity capability. I asked about wheelchair, whether it can be covered, and then again I asked about Medicare. As you all know, Medicare, some of you might not know, Medicare is for the people who are over 65, and it has several parts. One part is called Part A, which is hospital insurance. Therefore, the people over 65 who are not working, they will get Medicare, and if they have earned enough points, they have worked for 10 years for and have paid for medical insurance, for Medicare insurance, then they will be able to get Medicare, which is which has a Part A. They usually don't pay anything for that Part A, and that covers staying in hospital, but they have a deductible. However, there is a Part B in that insurance, Medicare, that they have to pay. For that one is when they want to see the doctor, other, inpatient, services. And for that, they have to pay $174.70. And they have a deductible for that one also. They have a Part D, means for drugs, prescription drugs. They have to pay $32. And then some of the elderly people who are 65 and over, that they have Medicare, they use something called Medicare Advantage Plan, and that combines, some of the plans which are Part A, Part B, it combines it together. There is another thing we want you to know is Medigap. Let's say if you go to a hospital, if I go to a hospital and there is a $10,000, a cost of the hospital, and then the Medicare pays $8,000 of it, then I have to pay $2,000 from my own pocket. How do I get it? Maybe I can get a supplemental insurance and end up paying $300 for it. That way, if the Medicare doesn't cover it, then the Medigap covers it. Therefore, these are the costs related to Medicare. Part A, zero. Part B, which is, we said this part is for hospitals. This part is for, seeing the physician. This part is for prescription drugs, and this part is for what the Medicare doesn't cover. And I said, suppose I have an uncle who is 65, and it says that your uncle has Medicare Advantage, his cost would be different, Then we come here, and I said, I have another uncle who has Medicaid rather than Medicare. As you all know, Medicaid is for people who are living at kind of poverty level, below poverty level, or maybe 138% of poverty level. And I say, which one of these two uncles are better off? The uncle that is on Medicare and Medicaid and is paying this much, or this uncle who doesn't pay anything? It compares and says that this uncle, this purple one, this uncle who is 80 years old and is paying Medicare, of course, has the advantage of having, more options to see different doctors, different, providers. But this uncle, which doesn't pay as much anything for his health insurance and is covered by Medicaid, therefore doesn't pay anything, doesn't have usually these costs in here, but at the same time, his coverage is limited in special areas. This here is where it is comparing these two together. Then I came and asked another question. I said, if I have a son, 17 years old, and can I have him on my insurance that I am paying $1,200? The answer is saying yes, and therefore it is giving some information, and it gives me some time between 30 to 60 days, and it is asking that if I ask if there is a pre-existing conditions based on Obamacare or Affordable Care Act, the insurance companies cannot deny the people, who have pre-existing conditions. And it is saying that I am saying that if I bring my spouse, for example, if I get married and I decide to, add my spouse to my, let's say, insurance, what would be the impact of it? It talks about $500 to $1,200 additional cost, and it is important to check for the, deadlines. And there are issues that it is called qualifying life event. That means if I get married, that is called qualifying life event. And the insurance company cannot deny that insurance for my, if I marry for the wife, they cannot. That's called qualified life event insurance, and it has to be done in special enrollment. In this case, I have 60 days when I get married to include my wife in my insurance, and therefore that's a part of Affordable Care Act. That's the law that the government wants the insurance companies be vigilant of. And also Blue Cross Blue Shield looks like that's a very important, insurance company in the state of West Virginia. Any information, you can go to healthcare.gov and use, enrollment special, the enrollment plan. And then another issue we want you to be familiar is COBRA. COBRA is when you work for an employer and suddenly you try to terminate your employment. It can be either voluntarily or involuntarily. They dismiss you or you resign from your job. Your employer usually gives you 18 months of coverage if you decide to have their coverage, but you have to give a premium, pay a premium. How much of a premium you pay, that is what you paid, as your part, and your employer paid as your part. For example, if I pay $200 of my paycheck every month for my insurance when I work for an employer, and my employer also paid $200, therefore now I have to pay $400 now that I am not working to carry the insurance that I have for maximum of 18 months. And also I have to pay additional 2%. The 2% won't be as much. Therefore, the whole information is here. And then that is something also we want you to know. And then the benefit of, having alternative to COBRA. If you want to quit your job, you don't want to have COBRA, you can go back to Marketplace and Obamacare. You can see if you are qualified for Medicaid, or you can, get your short-term health insurance, or use spousal. Your wife might be still working, or your husband might be working. And there are advantages and disadvantages of COBRA. COBRA will cost you more, and also it has a limited duration. It is usually 18 or 36 months. 36 months is for, another occasion. And then we come here, and again, we talked about this Medicare Part A, Part B, and we said that whether it is better for me to keep COBRA, which, I have to pay $400, or should I go with Medicare? We already learned what Medicare's, Medicare covers and what kind of plans we should have. Therefore, if I am 65 and I am quitting my job, I can look at these numbers and see which one would be in my best interest. Should I go with COBRA for 18 months, or should I go with the new Medicare? And therefore, these are the issues that you have to consider. Then we typed, these are the different types of insurance. Either your employer will provide you insurance. You all have heard of HMO and PPO. HMO has when you have a primary physician and you have a kind of you have to go first to your physician, and then you have limited providers in the in the specific locations. locations, and PPO gives you more, wider areas of coverage in terms of who you want to see. And of course, yeah, when you buy them, you can get bronze, gold, silver, and platinum. And therefore, these are, we want you also, the book also talks about HMO and PPO, and understanding of not having insurance. This can be a problem. You can run into financial risk. You can run into, preventive care, because when you have insurance, you will go and see the doctor. If you don't, and then you have penalties and costs, and also health insurance, we want you to know these terminologies. Premium is what you pay every month. Deductible is the money that you pay before your insurance kicks in. That's co-insurance is when you are going to pay, after deductible, which means if your hospital has $2,000 of deductible, then co-insurance is the then suppose I have a surgery. First I pay 2,000. Then after that, imagine that is my deductible 2,000. Then if I have a $10,000 dollars of cost for the surgery, if 8,000 is paid by the insurance, the $2,000 is the co-insurance that I have to pay out of my pocket. Co-pay is when you go and see your doctor. The visit is $100, and then you have to pay $30 of it. That's called co-pay. $70 is what the insurance. Therefore, out of pocket maximum is that, let's say if I go to hospital, and they say the maximum I can be coming, I should come, with my own, salary or my own money would be 5,000. Everything else beyond that is covered by the insurance company. Then these are the financial risks. If you don't have insurance, and therefore health outcomes and penalties. If you don't have insurance, you will have a major problem. You skip going and seeing a doctor, and you end up going constantly trying to go to emergency rooms, and that can cost even more. And then it can have negative health outcomes, penalties, and you miss preventive issues if you don't have health insurance. And therefore, I asked ChatGPT why the healthcare costs are so high. The costs are so high. The ChatGPT is telling us that one reason is medical services and procedures. We keep running into. They ask us to go in, constant procedures and drug tests, and all those tests they are adding to it. And also prescription drugs are increasing, costs are increasing, administrative costs, billing, and insurance costs. These hospitals have a lot of expenses, and also insurance companies make a lot of profits. They increase their profits. That's why insurance and medical costs are increasing. And also what happens is that we have more chronic illnesses. That adds to problem. Also, we know that the average age of the people is increasing, and people are living longer. Therefore, that they need more medical care, and for that reason, the cost of medicine, cost of medical treatment goes up. And we have cost shifting. Healthcare providers shift their costs, and uncompensated care, that means people go to emergencies and don't pay for it. And then advertisers suddenly they come and sell their products, their drug, prescription drugs on TV, and they jack up the prices. And also we know that every day there is a new technology coming in these hospitals, doctor offices. Therefore, those adds to costs. And also research and development. This way, pharmaceutical companies constantly are involved in research and development. The cost goes up, and the fear of lawsuits. You go to your doctor, for example, and as soon as you say, I have a headache, the doctor has so much fear of being sued. That way, when, he or she will send you to too many, tests here, blood tests, brain tests, MRI. Therefore, because of that fear, that jacks up the price. and lack of competition, which means you all know that hospitals are consolidating. You know that the Grand Memorial Hospital consolidated with the, with I think GW's with the the West Virginia University Hospital. Therefore, these consolidations cause less competition, and we have other problems like that are costing more, multiple layers, high deductible plans. When we have a high deductible plans, we don't go to see the doctor because we say, oh, it's going to cost us. We don't take care of ourselves. That's why we end up running into more problem, and things will cost us more, and cost of special treatments. Therefore, I asked, also I asked ChatGPT to talk about insurance fraud, and they said that the insurance fraud can happen in health, auto insurance, homeowner insurance, and in life insurance fraud. Therefore, the people who are involved in fraud can, be fined. They can go to jail, felony convictions, and repayment benefits, and also they cause increased premium for everyone, those who are involved in fraud, and they can cause a lot of problem. And in order to do that, what they do is that they go and unnecessary treatment for drug tests, and they stage accidents. Suppose they go and show if their car had been an accident, that's a type of fraud. They falsely damage their property, and therefore these are the criminal acts that can. Therefore, also I asked if there are health insurance for people with mental issues. They say, ChatGPT said yes. What I am going to do is that I try to post this to post it to one of the discussion boards, but it is such a huge document that it didn't allow me. I will post just a part of it on the discussion board. What I want you to do is to go to ChatGPT and type anything about the insurance. Therefore, what you will do, you can say that I have a cousin, for example, who is 25 years old. He wants to have an insurance, and he is 25. Wants to have an insurance. Wants to have an insurance in, for example, West Virginia. What do you recommend? Type your questions. What do you recommend, for example? And then you post your question, and the ChatGPT comes and gives you the idea. Therefore, type any type of questions regarding insurance. Then highlight your question and ChatGPT's answer to Microsoft Word. And imagine it's just typing now. Let's wait until it finishes typing. And then what I do, such a long answer. And I will copy that to Microsoft Word. And let's see if it can copy. I go to Word, which is here. And then after I click on Word, I paste it here. And then what I do is that I highlight this one in yellow. That is my question for ChatGPT. I click it here. That way I show students what my question is. And then I will go and highlight the most important ones. Imagine you are creating a PowerPoint. That way you don't need to give lecture, but you highlight that way the students can pay attention to what are the most important points. Here on this, one thing that I know is that this suppose insurance marketplace. That's the marketplace is where you go and find insurance companies. That's an important part. Therefore, another good important part is this expenses. I'm going to highlight them in blue. And then it gives me a good website, and it gives me what companies are involved in West Virginia. I highlight that as well. I just look at the important part that is highlighted here, and it is telling me where to go. This is an important section. Also, I highlight that way the students quickly can see. If you can copy and paste this one to the discussion board, that's a great idea. From here, therefore, you highlight this, and if you put it on the discussion board, these highlights will show in the discussion board. Therefore, after you do that, you may ask ChatGPT 3 or 4 questions that you have. It might be for yourself, for your friend, for your relative, anything that you want to see. We will learn from each other. And you saw how many different yellow questions I asked the ChatGPT. I want you to do that. Also, I want you to post the link of ChatGPT. Here it is. This is the ChatGPT link, and I click here. And as I said, I could click share here, or I clicked here, and I could copy. I can click share here. And as you all know, I can get create link. And after I create link, copy link, and then put this link on the discussion board as well. That way the students can see the entire, because at some point you might not be able, the discussion board, this document might be so big that this discussion board might not allow you to post everything, but try to post as much as you can. And also you can attach it as a Word, and also put this one for us, this link. That way we click on it and learn what you have posted. Therefore, I will post mine, and you look at how I have posted. I am going to post the link of my ChatGPT that has my questions. I am going to post my document in Microsoft Word as an attachment. And also I am going to post it as a document in the in the discussion board. That way you can see these colors on the discussion board. Therefore, as I told you, you will see this in 3 formats. One as a link, what I have done my research. One as what I have copied and pasted. And one as an attachment. And you will see that, and some students will do that. Look at what other students are doing, and you follow what they did. We learn a lot, Chad. It is important. The health insurance, we pay a lot of money for health insurance. Sometimes we are confused. It's so difficult to understand them. Therefore, the more we learn from each other, the better it is.